How does one go from being an average Joe to a made man? Joe Budden has had a great deal of success in the media space over the last decade or so. Whether you like him or not, he's unquestionably one of hip-hop culture's most influential voices. Due to his meteoric rise in success and popularity, people often speculate exactly how he managed to turn himself into a media mogul in a relatively short period of time. A close analysis of his journey reveals that Joe Budden turned himself into a boss by having the courage to pivot at the right time, constantly betting on himself, and by maintaining ownership of his product. Joe made the bold decision to make a big shift in his career at just the right time. Unlike most other aging rappers who hang on for far too long, he had the foresight to call it quits in that field and embark on a new journey in the podcast space in its early stages. At that time, podcasting wasn't the lucrative industry that it is today, and it definitely wasn't a sexy career path for current or former rappers. A lot of musicians get trapped by their image as an artist and feel beholden to their fan base, but that wasn't the case for Joe. He didn't try to keep one foot in the music industry while having the other in podcasting. No, he fully committed to his new gig and focused all of his attention and energy on making it as fruitful as possible. While other artists, including his former group mates, tried to convince him to return to music, Joe settled into his newfound passion and reimagined his identity. If you're going to be successful in any new endeavor, you gotta be willing to put it all on the line. And he did just that. Over and over again, Joe displayed the ultimate confidence in his ability to succeed on his own terms. He constantly turned down partnership opportunities that plenty of other people would have jumped at in order to protect the integrity of his show. The podcast industry, like every other industry, is driven by ads. The goal is to do numbers so you can attract advertisers who will sponsor your content or sign a contract with a bigger company. But Joe was extremely cautious and particular about who he got in bed with, understanding that his brand was precious and he wasn't going to let anybody ruin it or control it. Although many people were rooting against him, he survived a nasty breakup with his old castmates and successfully transitioned to a new, arguably better iteration of his podcast. He's continually brought in new co-hosts who keep the operation fresh and interesting, and they haven't missed a beat. Typically, when you have great success and confidence in what you're building, the last thing you want to do is give it away. Although it's a pretty standard practice in the industry, Joe never gave up the rights to his content for a quick bag, and that proved to be a wise decision. Instead of letting some corporation do it, he leveraged his large YouTube audience and converted a nice portion of it into paying customers on Patreon. Not many people are interesting or entertaining enough to command paid subscriptions, but Joe manages to earn a pretty penny that way because his fans are extremely invested and tuned into every aspect of his show. If he didn't own his content, he wouldn't be authorized to make these types of decisions and monetize the way that he does. Some of his colleagues thought it was foolish, but he stayed away from advertisers for an extremely long time. And even once he did partner with them, he did it in a way that didn't completely ruin the listening experience. He's very particular about how his content is presented and seems to refuse any collaboration that would take away from the quality of his production. The truth is, plenty of people brag about ownership, but very few know how to properly cultivate what they own. When you take a close look at his path, you understand that Joe is in a position that most people aren't because he makes decisions that most people won't. Knowing when to hold them and when to fold them is a skill that he's mastered, and it's put him in prime position to firmly plant himself as a leader in his field. His belief in his talent and ability to win never wavered, and he constantly put his money where his mouth is. He held on to his vision because he knew what it could be worth if he continuously poured into it. With incredible foresight, willpower, and work ethic, Joe has proven himself to be anything but average.